1100.
The opinions expressed during the sponsored programs on this station are strictly those of the program hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of Beasley Broadcast Group, this station, its staff, other advertisers, or agencies.
You are tuned into WWWE Hakeville, AM 1100.
The opinions expressed during the sponsored programs on this station are strictly those of the program hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of Beasley Broadcast Group, this station, its staff, other advertisers, or agencies.
Crazy? Yeah. Looks like they back for a 5th season, man. Who that? Sports Roundtable. Who? SRT Crew. SRT. They got that realness flowing in their DNA. Damn you lame if you ain't tuned to SRT today. HO got that payload when he say so. What you betting on? Don't get mad at me on fantasy. Break up Kyrie LeBron. I be smooth as sports superhero Hancock in the mix. Deal with roll top forever. Real talk, you know who he gon' pick. See where I be with SRT. Beyond the glass, that G-Money. They win strong, I never lose. 6-man a lead, that's J Smooth.
All you other sports radio shows is fake news. Believe it. Turn up your radios, cause it's time for SRT Radio. Yeah.
What up? It's Sports Roundtable, live from the SRT studios overlooking Atlantic Station, and we are in the penthouse, ready to rock and roll, but Facebook is kind of screwing us up right now. But anyway, we gonna get past that. For those who are listening right now, you can go to our YouTube channel. You all got backup plan. Go to our YouTube channel. You can go to SRT Sports Talk Radio. Just log that in on YouTube and you'll see us in studio just like always. So make sure you do that for us. I am your humble host, H.O. from Bankhead. And I got the one half of the crew. And always good to have a special guest. He has his own network, his own sports talk radio. I've been privy to be on his show many a times. My main man, the controversy one, Mr. Raphael, Mr. Controversy. How you doing, sir?
Yes. What's going on, everybody?
What's up, man?
Hey, all I know is I talked to Odell Beckham. He said y'all should give him credit for breaking Facebook, Instagram.
Wow. There we go. We know now.
Yeah, we know. I thought AB said it first, but I guess Odell Beckham got more followers. Uh-huh. He got more juice.
And we saw what happened after last night.
Yeah, I see. Absolutely. So there it is. Mr. Controversy is in the studio. Hancock is on PTO. Boogie has a game tonight. Simple as that. You already know. And, of course, my main man from Memphis, Tennessee. Hope he's not mad that he's not there at the Grizzly game tonight. But J Smooth is in the building.
No, man, I wanted to go. You know, Uncle Mike asked if I wanted to go. You know, he's a season ticket holder.
Absolutely.
And I was disappointed. Raphael said he was glad he's missing out on this game. No, I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you. But apparently G did not want to go either. So, you know, I
tell it all, man. Tell it all.
Tell it all. Huh?
But hey, Mike Conley is the defensive player of the week. Well, not defensive, but the Western Conference player of the week. Let me rephrase it right.
Luka Doncic let him get that award?
Yeah,
okay.
he did.
Okay.
Yeah, Conley had a good week. But
40 points one game and still doing this thing.
Is he still playing? Isn't this the time when he doesn't play? He's in his contract where he hasn't played the last 20 games?
Right, I need one of those.
Exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
And of course, my main man behind the glass, as you hear him dropping the beats every week, executive producer of the show, my main man G-Money. What up, G?
Yo.
Simple as that.
No, I was trying to post a link, the YouTube link to Facebook. It's like something went wrong. Please try again later.
Right.
So I can't even post a link.
Can't even post
we're
a
live
link.
on YouTube right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe you just have to say it, you know, just go to the Sports Roundtable and just tell them where we are, I guess. I'm not sure. But
That's
anyway,
what I'm trying to do.
There you go. Well, I feel you.
Facebook won't let me post.
Yeah,
that we're live on YouTube.
Mr. Zucker, you will go to the principal office today. But either way, hey, we got a special guest coming in. Make sure you tune in tonight around 8 o'clock, second half of the show, we got my main man, Marquise Kiki for 3 Hicks coming in the building. He's going to be in studio talking some good old NBA talk and some college basketball as well. We got some hot news, and you already know, man, it's free agency frenzy. We're going to get into that. We got our roundtable discussion, which obviously we're going to talk a little NBA. And does the Warriors are they in trouble? Do we still see them as the team to beat? And we also go talk about the Battle of the East, who's actually going to win the East, because I think it's going to be more competitive than people think.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, after looking at the Pacers without Oladipo and things of that nature. So, it's going to be very, very competitive. Remember, they had Cleveland on the ropes last year. We got our NBA bounce coming up. Of course, G Money will take care of that segment. And we got some more free agent news and things of that nature. But before we get this thing started, I'll be the first one to wish my main man G Money happy birthday, because his birthday is tomorrow.
Happy birthday, man.
Appreciate it.
There you
birthday,
go.
Bro.
So we're going to have the... Well, I guess I can't say that. Anyway.
Happy 25th, man.
There you go. G Money's birthday is tomorrow. So make sure y'all shout him out tomorrow, and make sure, because Pisces are taking over the world as always. There we go. All right, so hot news coming up. If you want to join the show, if you can listen to the show, 404-603-8770 is the number to call. Make sure you follow us. I want to say social media, but that's kind of down right now. But once it comes back up at SRT Radio, make sure you follow us. And with that being said, Z, let's jump into some of this hot news, because we got to get it.
Blazing. Hot. Scorching. On fire. Red hot.
This is why I'm hot.
It's the Sports Roundtable Hot News.
Sports Roundtable Hot News, sponsored by our good old friends at the Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road, Atlanta, Georgia. The best shrimp in town. It is verified. I said so myself. So does Jay Smooth. G Money also says the Gator Bites are the best. And Mr. Controversy said, hey, thumbs up for the shrimp. So it is what it is. Make sure you go over there and get 10% discount when you mention SRT or Sports Roundtable meals, $25 or more. All right, let's get into it. Tonight, hot news, and we're going to start straight off the press. Let's get to it. We're going to start first with AB, since he's the first name in the alphabet. AB.
There you go.
Yeah, he's first two. Yeah, there you go. AB. All right, Jay Smooth. AB traded to the Raiders. Then they turned around and signed Mr. Williams from the Chargers to go with AB. Then you have this Derek Carr thing with having receivers, and he had a receiver. But your thoughts on AB going to the Raiders? Did he actually win? Did the Raiders come up? Does John Gruden really know what he's doing?
Well, I would say it's a combination of maybe John Gruden, and then, they do have a new GM, Mike Mayock, who was formerly of NFL Network.
He was a very good analyst.
So I'm not sure how much involvement he actually had, but, considering his position, I think he would have. But if you're Antonio Brown, you won, and simply because you got the money you wanted. You got your next 3 years, you can earn upwards of $54.1 million, including incentives. According to reports and everything I read, when you look at the salary cap and what he was paid the last few years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they gave him a lot of money up front, but his annual earnings or his earnings throughout the season from week to week during the season, they weren't as much as he could have earned compared to, some of his counterparts, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham's, DeAndre Hopkins, such and such.
Right.
But if you're Antonio Brown, you're getting $30 million up front, and this is a guy who's arguably been the best receiver in the league since 2010.
Right.
He's led the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. So if you're the Raiders, you're getting a guy who will be 31 before the season starts, actually.
Wow.
But this is a guy whose game I think will age well. He's a precise route runner. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the most physically imposing guy, but I think his game will translate well, similar to maybe a Larry Fitzgerald. So I think the Raiders came out well in it. Pittsburgh, they got fleeced.
They got fleeced.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, before we go to Mr. Controversial, do you
Yeah.
think the Raiders compete at least for the division in the West, in the AFC West?
No. Yeah, they're still. Yeah, they're still. I think the margin between them, the Kansas City Chiefs, and even the San Diego Chargers, I think is still pretty wide.
Okay. All right, Mr. Controversial. AB, baby, let's get it.
Hey, man, I think this is very interesting. I'm looking at it from the Oakland Raiders organization standpoint. Yes, you got AB. I figure you win by getting the best receiver in the league, so they say. But what is going to happen with Derek Carr?
Uh-oh.
My thing is, because it was said that they're trying to trade him, but I do not believe you convince AB to come to the Oakland Raiders, where players retire, their careers retire, and you're talking about getting another rookie quarterback or some quarterback that doesn't have experience,
Yeah.
which we know in AB's past, when Roethlisberger's not playing, you bring in a young quarterback, what happens?
He struggles.
2 catches, 1 catch,
Right.
kicking the Gatorade bottles, whatever. So I want to see what they do now. Do they reconvene or come to each other and say, you know what? Let's give him one more year. Let's give Derek Carr. Let's see what he can do. Because now, think about it. I like Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper is still not a tier 2 wide receiver. So you replace him with a tier 1. Now, we all know that they were in the new system. We get that. But you place him with the best wide receiver in the game, Derek Carr might get better. He might want to trust throwing the ball deep again and throwing routes. So I want to see what happens with that. That's what I'm more interested in.
Right. Gotcha.
Let me ask you this. How much of it do you think, well, last year, the offensive line struggles, not having a consistent running game, beast mode. He exited, maybe 10 games into the season?
Yeah, and he saved all his NFL money, too.
Yeah.
Per reports. But
How much of those two factors do you guys think contributed to Derek Carr's struggles? Because, I mean, this guy was, he was at the top of the MVP race maybe a few years back.
he lost his offensive coordinator after that MVP year.
Okay.
I mean, and then it's a new, like I said, it's a new system. Like you just stated, the offensive line sucked. Gruden wanted to tank. I mean, we know what it is. I really think that now you give him this option. Not only will it help him, but it will help other receivers like Williams. Now you bring him in.
Right.
It's going to help him. It's going to help the tight end because now we know you have to double or triple AB. He's taking the top off. The safety is playing AB no matter what.
Right.
I think now you start to see Derek Carr get in that MVP. I wouldn't say MVP, but get back at that
The level that he
that
played.
level where he was playing well enough to where you talked about MVP because he had a skill set.
Yeah.
But did he have the receivers and the line?
Yeah.
I agree. All right, G, your thoughts on AB. Going to the Raiders, now we're going to find out what type of receiver he is with a new quarterback and without a run game like Le'Veon Bell.
We don't know what kind of run game they have, so that'll definitely be something to see. Hopefully, maybe they get someone in the draft that we don't know about, but it would have to be someone that Gruden may possibly run into the ground. Ask Cadillac Williams about that, but I think it's a good move for the Raiders. It gives them kind of the star they needed to get people interested in Vegas. As far as long term, I was talking to Mr. Controversy about this earlier, that the quarterback situation isn't settled, I don't think. Looking at a couple of mock drafts, the Raiders have the number 4 pick. They might take a quarterback.
Wow.
Namely Dwayne Haskins, because it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that Kyler Murray's going number 1.
Right.
So it could be Dwayne Haskins to the Raiders, unless the Giants move up from 6 to 3.
3 to take him.
To take Haskins.
I was going to mention that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yet there's so much money committed to Carr that you think they wouldn't do that, but that was a contract under Del Rio and Reggie McKenzie.
Right.
So you got a new GM, new coach. You know how it is with a new coach.
Right.
They want a new quarterback, or they want their own quarterback at least. So, and it did not go very well last year. But if they stick with Carr, or if they draft Haskins or Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, still a better situation than Josh Allen in Buffalo. So I think that's why I turned it down to like, look, Josh Allen will underthrow me and overthrow me. He can't even complete 50% of his passes. Yeah. So we want someone who could at least, if they're going to check down, they'll check down to me. Yeah. It'll be on target.
But I do got a question for you, though. The last time the Raiders believed in the prototypical quarterback, you saw what happened, right?
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Look, that was an Al Davis pick. And you know how Al Davis picks. You know how he picked. Does the quarterback have a big arm?
Yeah.
Or if it's a wide receiver, is he fast? What's his 40 time? If it starts with 4 and ends with 4, if it's 4.4 or lower, he's going to take him. That's why we got Darius Hayward-Bay as the first pick, the first wide receiver taken in that draft before Michael Crabtree. But that turned out to be a weak wide receiver class anyway. But point is, I think it's still a good trade for the Raiders to make in the long term. As far as his upcoming season, they got other moves that they have to make for anybody to really take them as a contender, take them seriously as a contender, especially in that division. We look at the moves that the Chiefs made. They released Eric Berry, but they got Honey Badger in there. Yeah. They released Justin Houston. I feel like they signed somebody else. Somebody else came over to as far as like a 3-4 linebacker. So
we'll go through the list in a minute.
So they made some moves. So I think it's still the Chiefs' division to win, and the Chargers. They're going to take a step back, but I still take them over the Raiders in that division. But it's a good move in the long term. AB got his money. He got out of Pittsburgh. He has a coach and GM that apparently respect him enough to where they're not going to go on the radio and throw him under the bus every week.
Right.
So it's I think it worked out for the Raiders. I think Pittsburgh did get fleeced though.
Yeah. I figured that was coming. But before we move on to the Odell, I would like to say that, you know, probably the underlying thing here is when you look at the NFL, when you look at these players, we look at how we want the players to be, act, and things of that nature. We know that AB went online, Facebook Live in the locker room one time. He stayed constantly in trouble and at it with the coach and the quarterback. At the bottom line, it shows that you can be a malcontent, move on to a new team, and still be the highest paid receiver in the game.
There you go.
I mean, it's simply put, that's what this says in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's what it says. So I don't know what message that is trying to send, but basically that's just what happened. All right, moving on to the Mr. Beckham trade to the Browns. I know Mr. Controversy has some people in Cleveland that you want to holler at, so we're going to give you a first shot to holler at them. Beckham trade to the Browns. Are they contenders now or just paper champs?
First, I know we're not on Facebook. I'm tired of people getting on Facebook saying the Browns are a playoff team. I guarantee it. Just watch it. Bro, they won 5 out of the last 7 games. They went to 3 overtimes, won 1, tied the other, and then lost 2 other games by 2 points. Yes, they're a contender now. You saw how they played at the end of the season.
Right.
Everything was clicking. But now you just don't add a receiver that can get his own. You have to remember, they still have Juice. They have Juice. Yeah. Landry. Yeah. They have Landry. So with Jarvis Landry there, his game we all know is the underneath, catching 15 yards or under.
11 catches for 75 yards.
Right. Right. This is going to open that up. He's going to go back to the days when he played in Miami.
Yeah.
Yet still, we all know that Baker loves to throw the ball, throw that rock. You still have Callaway, who can burn.
Right.
Now with defenses having to play the receivers, Chubb is going to eat. And if this is some guy that might play some guy named Hunt. If he plays, you still got Joku. Come on, man. Like, the only thing they missed out, I wonder what happens, is the safety position.
Right.
That's it. But other than that, you signed Sheldon Williams. You got Vernon Olivier. Come on. Jamie Collins. Greg Williams is still there. So the only thing I'm worried about is now playing under this new OC, how will they gel? Will it take a while? But other than that, by week 5, they're gonna have the best. They already was the best talented team to me on paper already, and it started to pay off. You add maybe the number 3, top 3, 4 receiver.
Yeah.
With a quarterback who can throw, who now might be the number 1 receiver in the league with this quarterback who has an arm and who's going to throw him the ball. I love it. I still think Giants got fleeced by. We'll probably talk about that later on, but I love this for Cleveland Browns. I say they're a contender quick.
All right, Jay Smooth, your thoughts on Cleveland and Mr. Beckham heading to Cleveland, and you think, are they a contender or are they paper champs?
No, I think they definitely are a contender. I think immediately with that one move with Odell Beckham, I think they, in my mind, without a doubt, win the AFC North. It's just my opinion. And I do have to commend John Dorsey, the Cleveland Browns GM.
Yes.
He's come in and made several moves, and he's positioned his franchise, which is what a GM should do. He's positioned them to contend right way, not only immediately, but for, the next 4, 5, 6 years down the line. And Mr. C, he pointed out everything. This offense, anything that you could possibly imagine, anything that you could want your offense to do, this is a Madden-like offense.
He left out Duke Jones too, by the way.
Oh, Duke, yeah, Duke. Yeah. Oh my God.
He's gonna be a fantasy sleeper, but that's a whole nother story. We go ahead.
So, and I think it's important that we mention Freddie Kitchens, who was promoted to head coach. If he can somehow make things work, if he can somehow, make the pieces stick, if Odell Beckham, if he stays healthy, him and Jarvis Landry, as we all know, they're best friends going back to their days at LSU. So I don't think there will be a sort of jealousy, or they might not have the sort of, I won't say character problems, but the chemistry. They might not have certain chemistry issues that you would expect. But Odell Beckham is a guy that when he steps on the field, you have to immediately identify him. Where's number 13? If you don't find this guy, it could be a long day for you.
Right.
And not only that, you can't stack the box on Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt, as you pointed out, makes things difficult. David Njoku, their tight end, he has more value at this point. So it was an overall great trade. The Cleveland Browns are on their way up. The dog pound, they should be excited. I'm excited to see what happens next year.
G, your thoughts? And I'm gonna give it to you a different way. You can also, comment on that, but could this be bigger than LeBron coming back to Cleveland?
No.
Okay, no. I'm just throwing it out.
No.
But based on Facebook, it is.
Well, it is
exactly. Exactly.
It is something for the city of Cleveland to be excited about, and what Cleveland has done, what they're in the midst of doing, is something that we've seen NFL teams try to do over the last few years, but we've only seen it really like one way. As far as you drafted a quarterback, okay, we're paying him this much. So we're going to spend all the rest of our money on defense.
Right.
You can look at the Rams for that. But in this case with the Browns, they're able to spend their money on both sides of the ball because they have young players on both sides of the ball. On offense, okay, you got Baker, you got Chubb, Callaway, Joku. But on defense, you have Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward and Ogunjobi, and there's another there's a linebacker, I think, also. But you have young players on defense, so you know how much you are paying them.
Right.
And so you could spend money on different positions. You don't have to stay on just one side. So they're able to get Odell Beckham and sign him to an extension. You're able to sign or trade for Landry and get him an extension. And then on defense, you can bring in, I was just looking at the depth chart, they brought in Sheldon Richardson as well.
Wow.
So there, and I feel like there's someone else they brought in. I think they brought in another defensive lineman. They traded for Olivier Vernon. And
Jamie
there's another
Collins.
defensive lineman that they brought in.
Right.
But they're able to spend money on both sides of the ball in other key areas. So they have put themselves in position to where on paper they look like contenders. Well, hopefully Baker Mayfield doesn't take a step back. You mean, you have the continuation with the coach, even though I don't like, okay, you had one good year with this offensive coordinator. Let's make him the head coach now. We saw that in Tampa, and that didn't go so well. But anyway,
Right.
they're put themselves in position to contend, if not this year, then most definitely next year.
Gotcha. The only question I would have is that to your point, do you trust Freddie Kitchen as a head coach? Do you actually trust Greg Williams, who didn't not actually get the job, still remain defensive coordinator without stabbing Freddie Kitchens in the back? So, I mean, just something to think about. You guys understand?
Real quick, yeah. I was going to say that two things. Jarvis Landry is probably the only person that will hold Odell.
There you go.
You know, and say, hey, look, you have to play. You know what I'm saying? Hold him accountable, get in his face, because that's the type of guy Landry is, and he respects Landry.
Yeah.
And then to the point, I just thought about this. You asked about LeBron. I'll say it is, I talked to a Cleveland Brown fan, and he stated the reason why it is bigger than LeBron, not the fact of Odell Beckham, but the fact that football is way bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that football
In Ohio, yeah.
is up there again, and they're a contender, a serious contender, this is bigger than LeBron coming back.
Right.
Because he won a championship, but it's still like, okay, the team sucks. Football sucks. And football, we know, holds down Cleveland.
Yeah.
There it is.
The Browns defense coordinator is not Greg Williams.
Oh, it's not.
It
Oh.
is former Cardinals head coach Steve Wilkes.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah,
right.
that's right. They did.
So
We ain't got to worry about that. Then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Google need to change it. They need to switch this up, man. Something.
Google?
Yeah, they need to
They
switch
must be
this up.
down like Instagram.
Yeah, because I thought Greg Williams was there.
Yeah, I did, that was kind of funny. I mean, like, I'm like, oh, he was the head coach, then they moved him back to defense. That's kind of funny. But either way,
Greg Williams went to the Jets, but anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So Steve Wilkes, fresh and new, probably have a chip on the shoulder for that 1 year.
Of course, yeah.
Yada 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 over in Arizona. So that will probably be a good mix. You have an offensive guy and you have a defensive guy. Obviously, he was the defensive coordinator with Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
The years that they was actually,
Right.
Cam didn't hurt his shoulder, whatever the case. But we got some Le'Veon Bell to talk about. We're gonna talk about that once we get into our other news, because obviously we got a lot to say about Mr. Le'Veon Bell. But we got to take a quick break, and we going to break. And when we come back, the NBA bounce with my main man G Money. We talk about the top 3 MVPs, top 5 power rankings. It's all here. You listen to Sports Roundtable and SRT crew on the Real 1100 and SRTradio.com.
We'll be back with more Sports Roundtable on the Real 1100 AM.
What's up? This your man D-Will the Coach, here on behalf of Real Talk Tees. Real Talk Tees is for the players, geniuses, and bosses. For those who hustle, for the fresh, and for the iconic. Real Talk Tees is urban, affordable, vintage t-shirts to help you express yourself. So visit realtalktees.bigcartel.com to order yours today. So how about this? You got a specific mood in mind? Custom orders are available also to help you and yours stand out. So visit realtalktees.bigcartel.com, where what's real lasts forever.
Are you looking for a new, pre-owned, or used car to get you around the city or simply from point A to point B? Look no further. Jay's Used Cars is the place to be. Jay believes your job is your credit, and no matter what your situation is, Jay will get you in a car. Visit Jay's at 3820 Lawrenceville Highway in Tucker and mention Sports Roundtable, get a 10% discount. Go to jaysusedcars.com to check out the inventory. Jay's Used Cars, where they stack them deep and sell them cheap. Sports Roundtable.
All you do is spin record. That's all you do. Who you think he is? DJ Quick?
No,
huh?
no, I ain't say
King
that.
Capri?
I didn't say
Huh?
that.
Oh, you must be Jimmy Walker. Blue, you ain't nothing. You don't deserve nothing. You don't get nothing. You get what I give you. I got a contract between me and you that say you do what I tell you to do. Therefore, shut the don't say nothing. Don't speak to me. Don't look at me. I tell you what. You better go on back out there and get out of my face before you get swole.
Only on WWE, The Real 1100 AM.
Let's find out what's bouncing around in the NBA.
Just point out the bounce. Show me the bounce. Yeah. Just point out the bounce.
All right, welcome back to Sports Roundtable, and it's time for our NBA Bounce segment, in which we'll simply discuss the top 5 teams in the NBA who are playing the best, in our humble opinion, and the top 3 MVP candidates. So for our top 5 teams, number 1 this week, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. Number 2, we have the Golden State Warriors. Number 3, we have the Houston Rockets. Number 4, the Toronto Raptors. And sneaking in at number 5, because they have 4 points but only 1 vote, the San Antonio Spurs.
What? Stop. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna ask the person who voted for the Spurs. That would be Jay Smooth, who had them number 2 in his rankings. What has them number 2 in your rankings this week?
Well, they've won, I think it's about 6 straight, and they've moved up to about 6th in the Western Conference standings. This is, well, throughout his entire tenure in San Antonio, Greg Popovich has continued to get the most out of, the players that he has available to them. LaMarcus Aldridge has played well, DeMar DeRozan, and I don't know if they have championship aspirations. I don't think they're that good. But considering, the weekly rankings and how well they're playing, I think they were well deserving to be in the top 5.
All right, and as of right now, they are number 6 in the West, a half game ahead of the Clippers, and 2.5 back of the 5th seed, which is right now the Blazers. All right, HO. I believe you had Milwaukee number 1 this week.
Yep.
All right. So why do you have Milwaukee? What do you see out of them? What do you see out of them this past week or this season in general?
Well, just the consistency. 7-3 in the last 10 games. They are just consistently doing what they need to do. I think we have a stigma when we say Milwaukee Bucks, the best team in the league. You just kind of look like. So I think the stigma, is there, and we really don't pay attention to they're actually have a good team. So I mean, it is the Greek Freak has been doing all that he needs to do when it comes to MVP and things of that nature. So I'm like, for him to carry this team to, they've already clinched.
Yeah,
they've already clinched. It's nothing more that I can really say other than don't allow the stigma of just saying Milwaukee Bucks scare you off of picking them as the best team in the league.
Yeah,
simple as that.
All right, and as of right now, the Bucks are one of 2 teams who have clinched the playoff spot. The other is the Toronto Raptors. So looking at our MVP rankings, number 1 this week is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 2 is James Harden. And number 3, even though they only had 1 vote, they had more points. So it is actually Paul George. If D Will is listening anywhere, please give us a call and let us know why Paul George is your number 1 MVP candidate as of right now. But I'll ask you, Jay, you had Giannis number 1, right?
Yeah, Giannis.
Make sure I had that one right. Yeah.
Giannis 1, Harden 2, and I actually had Kawhi Leonard at 3.
All right, Joe, does Kawhi Leonard have a chance, or do you just see him finishing 3rd place?
I don't think he will win the MVP, but I think he should definitely deserve strong consideration. Him being in Toronto has made them legit contenders. I think you've had improvement from, as Hancock likes to call them, the Wakandas. What's my guy's name? The guy that's going to win Most Improved Player?
Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell saying that's not happening.
Wow.
D'Angelo Russell saying that's not happening.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Did he not say that, G? He said it on Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
he said it ain't happening, so.
Well, we'll see.
Some
We'll see what
some people are probably going to vote Paul George for Most Improved, even though he's won the award already.
Right. I know. It's Go ahead, Jay.
You can't win everything, but go ahead.
But yeah, Toronto, as G just mentioned, they've clinched the playoff spot. They currently sit at 2nd in the East, 48 wins, and the only knock against Kawhi, in my opinion, because if you look at his career numbers, he's averaging 27 points per game, which 27 points per game, which is the largest, his best point total throughout his career so far. I mean, all career highs in rebounds, assists across the board. The only problem or knock against Kawhi is him sitting so many games. He's only played about 49 games this season, and compared to his counterparts, James Harden, Giannis, I'm sure there's a lot. You probably 8 to 15 games less than what they've played. But I think Kawhi is definitely deserving, and Toronto looks like I don't expect them to win, but they look like a contender. I'll just say that.
All right, Mr. Contreras, I'll ask you. Do you have the top 3 MVP candidates as of right now?
That's probably it. Those 3. Well, not Kawhi, but I have, not in order, but Giannis, Harden, and Paul George. But I just want to ask, were you all picking like through ping pongs and just whatever comes out, y'all, that's who y'all going with? Because how in the world y'all don't have the Houston Rockets, the number 1 team? We're saying this week, right?
Yeah.
They're 9-1, and they won what?
I had them number 1.
Okay, I
had
don't.
them number 1.
I mean, because they're playing defense. And that's the key.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen them play
2. Yeah, I had number 2.
I had them number 2.
We hadn't seen them play defense
I had
like they, like they have. Without Ariza, they're playing the best defense right now in the NBA this week.
Yeah.
So holding teams to 80 points, and good teams at that.
Yeah.
And then I don't see how he's not. Wait, where did y'all have Harden? I'm sorry, I have to ask. Where did y'all have Harden for MVP?
I have him number 1.
I have him 2.
I had 2.
I got Jokic 3. I got to keep my boy in there.
But the top 3, to answer your point, I have. You gotta say Giannis just because of what he's doing, because he's leading that team.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's more than, and kind of think of like how voters would vote? Is it more than just best player on the best team, as far as best player with the team with the best record?
Well, to me, that's why I would say
value.
And I'm when I answered that question earlier, I'm looking as far as of what the NBA would think.
Right.
But me personally, I would think that, look at it like this. It's AAU ball with everybody else. Because with Giannis and Harden, all it is now Harden can dribble the ball, and he's proved that he can pass the ball. But for the most part, Giannis is not the best dribbler on that team. He's not the best passer on that team. It's AAU. He's the best player. Give him the ball the whole time. Let him do what he does. That's what it is. But Paul George is doing this consistently, and he doesn't have the ball with more than 8 seconds during the shot clock. His field goal percentage is high.
Yeah.
Plays great defense.
All right, so I listen. I agree with you on that, and I'm just gonna chime in a little bit, just to get some bite with it. All right, so I think this might be one of the most competitive MVP races we've ever seen, and you not even naming LeBron, Steph, or Durant in none of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about what I'm saying.
Right.
Now, I'm gonna go to the Milwaukee Bucks analogy with Giannis. I mean with Jokic. All right. If Jokic had a bigger brand, he would probably be the number 1 guy in MVP race. He is the only guy that we name that don't have to give you 30 a night to dominate the game. Take him off Denver team, it is a wrap.
I think that might be part of the issue with Jokic, to where he's not mentioned as much. I mean, he's an All-Star this year, right? But he's the first All-Star since Carmelo 9 years ago. So like once the Nuggets traded Carmelo, no one really paid attention to Denver like that. So and even now, like people probably think Denver's the 7th seed.
Right.
Exactly.
And they're really number 2 right now.
And I did have Jokic ranked probably a few weeks ago, but the loss to Golden State, in which they were blown out this past week, I think that may hurt. Well, I won't say it hurts his case, but as a team,
hurt the team case.
It devalues his, in my opinion. And
did you? Because if you watched it, I'm sorry, if you watched it, the starters played horribly, but it still proved how great or good this team is because the bench came in and they were down 19 and they took the lead by like 5.
Yeah,
the bench. But then when the starters came back in, they went back down by 19 before the half.
Right.
Which sort of hurts his case, and I'm kind of also of the opinion that Houston is right there on them. Has Houston overtook them? Are they in second place?
No,
They third.
They have to be maybe one game behind the Nuggets.
They're it's 2.5.
2.5. I expect the Houston Rockets, as Mr. C pointed out, the way they're playing defensively, I expect them to overtake Denver in the next week.
I think they're gonna overtake. They're only 3.5 from Golden State. I think.
Yeah.
They're gonna overtake
And they have a
Golden State.
chance, with Durant being out. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out, but I think Golden State would probably just coast into the end of the season.
Yeah.
And the Rockets will have a chance to climb back up to number 1 because it's not that important. It doesn't. I mean, last year wasn't that important to Golden State. It's probably not that important now. They're rather get to the postseason healthy.
Right.
But Houston sees having the home court advantage or the number 1 seed as a distinctive advantage.
No, they'd rather get to the postseason rested. This is like the 4th year in a row where one of their big players has sat out the last 15 games of the season. This always happens.
Yeah. Is
This is
Jokic
deployed, man?
Is Jokic still top 10 in assists?
Yeah,
I'm sure he is. Yeah. So that's hard to ignore.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
That's hard to
my guy.
ignore.
Yeah, that's my guy.
That's
Yeah.
my guy.
He look goofy.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
He uncoordinated. He's not athletic, but he dominates the basketball game.
Yeah.
And he gets everybody involved.
Yeah.
And let's be real. G, we may have to add coaches of the year because if don't nobody mention Nate McMillan, we need to do an investigation.
Oh, you have to.
You got a lot of
got
coaches
to do
that
it.
good.
Yeah.
But there's so many. Like you can Coach
Doc?
Bud,
Doc
Yeah.
Rivers.
Nick Nurse,
Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers, especially if the Clippers hold on to their playoff spot.
Malone.
I think it's going to be Mike Malone.
It's
though.
got to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be Mike
yeah.
Malone.
Got to be Mike Malone. That's
But
cool.
it's tough though.
Yeah, I know. Hey, before we get off of this though, are we gonna act like the annual Chris Paul injury not gonna happen?
Right.
Oh, it's coming.
It already happened.
It already happened.
No,
It already happened.
Yeah, he had
the playoff version.
The annual
the playoff
The playoff version. Yeah.
It's still possible because there are 2 anniversaries.
Yeah, exactly.
So somebody need to step on his toe the first game of the playoffs,
Yeah.
so he get out the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Might as well
him and Harden had a deal where I'm gonna sit out, let you win MVP, get your stats up, then I'm gonna come back. During the regular season, we gonna win 9 straight. We gonna get it back together. Hopefully, Capella can come back too.
Yeah.
Get D'Antoni to finally get us some defensive players, and we'll ride off and see, and then hopefully put some ice hot on my hamstrings, and maybe we don't get hurt.
Yeah, when you make
during the playoffs.
Yeah, when you make $40 million per year, it might not matter.
Exactly. All right, just so you, man.
All right, that'll do it for our NBA bounce segment.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. Don't worry, Key. We got you. We gonna get back into it. So don't worry about that. We go jump right back into it easily. But I got some other news that I do want to kind of mention, and we go jump back into this Le'Veon Bell situation. Le'Veon signs with the Jets. He held out last year. He missed out on $14.6 million. I said personally, if he was married, he had to play.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I would say, right? He's a single guy working on the album, things of that nature. So he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Signed a contract, 4 years, $52.5 million, $13 million a year. Incentives probably can get it up to 61. Mr. C, Mr. Controversy, did he lose in this situation?
No, because he stood what he believed in. That's what I respect the most.
Right.
He stood up for what he believed in. He got rested, and it didn't happen. But to me, it showed other players, don't be scared to do what you believe in. Forget football. Anybody should see this. If you believe in it, you have do what you believe in. It'll work out. I mean, we saw it happen with Kaepernick. But going back to playing football, like I said, I think it worked out because it did. Yeah, he didn't get what he wanted. I think it's like $1 million over what Steelers offered him, right, or less.
It was still offering 15, 3 for 45.
Right, right. So it's less as far as per year, but it was what he believed in. Now where he lost at is, okay, bro, if you're gonna do 13 mil, why you going to the Jets? That's what I don't get.
Well, I thought he was going to the Raiders, but
Me
then
too.
as it all slipped our minds, the Raiders don't have any money.
No, they don't. I was
Like as
hoping
far
he
as
came,
like they may have had, I'm sorry, they would have had like they got like salary cap money, but when these players sign these contracts, you see that guaranteed. A good chunk of that is due right when they sign the contract.
Right.
So if it was like Antonio Brown, like 38 million guaranteed, probably like 20, 25 that is due. Like they got to cut him that check right after he signs that contract. So maybe they had that money, but they didn't have the money to sign also Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
So they've been strapped for cash for a long time. And I think that's one of the reasons why they traded Khalil Mack, not because of any drama with John Gruden. They just didn't have the money to give him what he deserved.
Yeah. All right, Smooth. Thoughts on Mr. Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah.
As far as winning or losing, or if you think that's even a matter of a case, of an opinion or whatever, but him going to the Jets kind of seemed a little funny. You know, it reminded me when you saw Curtis Martin actually go to the Jets, but they was actually good at that particular part because they had Bill Parcells or whatever the case may be. So it was a little different. But this, I'm with you, Mr. C. I don't know about this.
Yeah. I wouldn't judge it in terms of wins and losses. If you look at it this way, the market was suppressed a bit. He didn't have as many teams interested as he thought he would have. The Ravens reportedly did not make an offer. And also, teams are sort of taking the Patriots approach. We want to build a team by using the running back, the RBC, running back by committee, which is the way to go. And you had several running backs, namely Mark Ingram, who signed with Baltimore for maybe 3 years, $15 million. You had Tevin Coleman, who just signed with San Francisco for a couple years, $10 million. And you had even an older guy, an ancient guy like Frank Gore, who signs with the Buffalo Bills for 1 year, couple million.
Yeah, he know he go retire after this.
Right. When you have
He must
running
have
backs,
really, really wanted to play.
Yeah, he had to.
You got child support, I guess.
Yeah.
They're gonna run the ball. He know they're gonna run the ball.
Right.
Yeah,
That's all they can do. But when you have guys like that who sort of undercut the market, and I have to give the Jets credit, they did not overbid. They didn't overpay for Le'Veon Bell's services. I mean, this guy's a top tier talent. I mean, he's an immediate upgrade. Like the last time they had a 1,000-yard rusher was 2015, Chris Ivory. They only had 200-yard rushing games last year, and both of those were by Isaiah Crowell. So he's an immediate upgrade for an offense that finished, like, I want to say 29th overall in terms of yardage. So, I mean, they're a pretty bad offense. You know, I'm interested to see what he does. I'm sure he'll aid in Sam Darnold, his development. But I wouldn't judge him in terms of wins and losses. I mean, he'll get paid eventually. Hopefully it leads to another contract down the road, but I think he'll be fine.
Once again, I have to point this out. I'm always digging a little deeper than most people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that. Same team. This guy's a malcontent. This guy stands up for what he believes. He is the most he gets this guy, the highest paid receiver. This guy didn't get anything close to what he was standing up for. How does that look to the world? Like, this guy is a malcontent. You know he is. Going off on the coach, going off on the quarterback, which I don't blame him, but it's the way you do it, right? I get it. But what does it really say? Like, we done seen Eric Reed do this. We done seen Kaepernick do this. Now we seen Le'Veon Bell do this and say, okay, well, at least I'm going to get the per year up above $10 or $12 million like running back. Yeah, but Mark Ingram only got $5 million. Yeah,
well
we'll
like
see.
this, like Mark Ingram is like 30, right?
Yeah.
And that's the magic. Well,
No.
really, like 27 is the magic number as far as running backs are concerned.
Right.
So that's probably the most he would get at this point of his career. With Le'Veon Bell, even though he would have a year less of damage on his body, it shows what the running back market still kind of is. You're not going to get that Adrian Peterson contract was like 7 years, $96 million. That's never happening again.
The problem with that scenario is he has more receptions than I can name receivers that done played over the last 3 to 4 years.
But he's not a receiver. Yeah, he'll catch the ball out of the backfield.
That's receiving.
But that's different than someone like who actually plays receiver full time, like an Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and it's bad that you have to.
So Antonio Brown's position is valued more than Le'Veon Bell's, and even though that it shouldn't be that way in the NFL, it should be the value of that player to the team rather than the value of the position as a whole, the market as a whole. So. But that's still how it is.
It reminds me of, and no way he should get a stop it, but he shouldn't have been a wide receiver at that, Devin Hester. But remember when Bears put him at wide receiver, then he was trying to leave, and Bears was like, I think they re-signed him, but it was like, I know you want to get wide receiver money, and we list you as our number one receiver, but you're a kick returner. And that's all they signed him, gave him that money for a kick returner. That's what the league is. They're going to look at him. All they see is RB. I don't care what you do on the film, RB, running back. And like G said, hey, that's the market for running back.
What's funny is like with Hester, I never saw him catch a touchdown. He may have caught a few. I never saw him catch one.
I remember. Yeah, it is. So we're going to move on to some other notable. Earl Thomas signed with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on again? He's setting the market. Was it 14 a year or something like that for the safety position? Do you trust him coming off a knee injury? Was this his second one? This is his first.
Well, did he break his leg?
I think one was like a broken leg.
Yeah.
And this one, I felt like he broke the other leg or something like that.
So, do you trust Earl Thomas to be as good as he was touted to be in Seattle? And he kind of has an advantage being in Baltimore because they breed defensive players and things of that nature. But your thoughts on Earl Thomas signing with Baltimore?
The only thing that concerns me is the loss of, even though Terrell Suggs he's ancient now. He's older. He's gone. C.J. Mosley, another guy who went to, I believe, New York. And
he went to the Jets.
Yeah, who's the highest paid linebacker in the league, I believe. But that concerns me. But they still have a strong stable of cornerbacks with Jimmy Smith. Who else is that cornerback for Baltimore? So I don't, if at the safety position, he won't be tasked with,
he'll be compared to Ed Reed. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah, now that I think about it, Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, that presents problems. A.J. Green, that's going to present a problem.
They probably felt like they had to do something playing the Browns twice a year, but they also lost Zadarius Smith.
Was
who led their team in sacks.
Right.
And he went to the Packers.
So that's a concern. They lost a lot of guys during free agency. Will that impact Earl Thomas or not? Is he that same guy? We don't know, but congratulations to him. He got his money, so because everybody thought he was done.
I really think he made this decision. All he saw was the Seattle Seahawks. That's all he did. That's the reason why he chose is because of money. Why would you go to a team where they lost all of their defensive players?
Yeah.
they're not going to be half as good. Well, we don't know because they always breed defensive players. But still, I don't see that. Where he had a chance, he was about to sign with the Cleveland Browns. If he would have signed with the Cleveland Browns and he could have played 3/4 of what he was, you really put him a contender.
$55 million with 32 guaranteed.
No, I get that, right.
He would have got that for the Browns. I mean, because he had been, I guess you say he'd been underpaid with the Seahawks this whole time.
No, he got paid his first year. When he signed that contract, he was the highest paid safety. I think that his first contract, major contract with Seattle. He got it. It's just.
Then it turned into a passing league, and
right.
then the defensive back value went up.
I just think that he looked at money, like you said, which was, I feel him because he has a chip already. But still, I think it was more of he wanted to prove to Seattle, y'all try to sabotage me, but look what I got.
Yeah.
So,
one quick question: If Baltimore does double down on what they did with Lamar Jackson, the whole, what do we call them? The RBGs. The
BGPs.
The BGP, yeah. The black guy plays. If they double down on those this year and they control the clock, maintain a solid running game, which Mark Ingram might help, does that in any way help Earl Thomas?
No, because he got to play defense.
Well, yeah, because it basically, like, if you're running the ball to control the clock, normally that doesn't bring you a lot of points. So it's like you got to hold. I think any good defense now, with as many passes as people throw, holding a team under 20 points should be considered a great defense. But still playing like the 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense, you're not going to score 20 points, not consistently. Mm-mm. You're going to be kicking a lot of field goals. So they do have the best kicker in the league, but that's 12 points. That's 4 field goals. But if you're not getting any touchdowns, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the defense to hold the other team from getting in the end zone. And that's a lot to ask for in today's league.
Yeah, also a notable Eric Berry, Atlanta owned, he gets released today by Kansas City. Obviously, Tyrone, what's his name?
Matthew.
He signed with Kansas City as well. So, and Mr. Peterson said he's coming back to the football nation up there in D.C. So, we'll see how.
Another important cut. ESPN Monday Night Football cut the Booger Mobile.
No.
So we won't be seeing that atrocity on
Monday
nights anymore.
They need a whole new crew.
Wow.
But Booger will still be there in the booth.
He'll be in the booth.
He just won't be on that thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, that's right. I knew that. I'm like, okay, I thought you said they cut him like for good. I'm like.
And so just to make sure that the locals get some airtime, the Atlanta Falcons signed 2 guards, and we go probably move on to commercial.
Wow. They cut Schrader. Is that a good thing?
Yeah. The other guy who they didn't cut, today was the last day to cut him, and that didn't happen. So that's probably why I would probably almost sideswipe this woman when I heard that they
just real quick, is the Falcons running back situation now like a lot worse than people realize?
Depends on Devontae Freeman's health.
Who they signed? Didn't he just play last week in the AAF?
Wow.
My bad. I thought it was. No, my fault.
Whoever it was, I don't even know who you're talking about.
So James Carpenter, Juwan Brown is the 2 guards that are going to be next to Alex Mack. They say they big behemoth guys, so we'll see what happens. Maybe we can finally get a 3rd and 1.
Right.
We'll see. But anyway, let's go wrap up some hot news, man. And when we come back, he in studio, folks. You already know. Kiki for 3. I know you wish you playing with the Hawks when Ryan Cameron saying that, but it show sound good. But anyway, let's go in the first hour of the show. When we come back, you already know he's in studio. Marquise Hicks, Kiki for 3. He's here. Kiki for real is the foundation. You got to tune in to listen to this guy. Guy got plenty of knowledge. We got some stories to tell, and we got to talk a little NBA because he's a Laker fan. So we're going to talk about all of this and more. Keep it locked. You listen to Sports Roundtable with SRT Crew on the Real 1100, SRTradio.com.
Keep those ears locked to Sports Roundtable on the Real 1100 AM.
You're tuned into WWE Lakeville, AM 1100.
The opinions expressed during the sponsored programs on this station are strictly those of the program hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of Beasley Broadcast Group, this station, its staff, other advertisers, or agencies.
Listen up, sports fans and TV watchers. SRT and Vibe TV have joined forces to bring you the best TV watching experience ever. When you subscribe to the Vibe TV app, you're going to get over 340 U.S. TV stations, including HBO, Stars, AMC, ESPN, Hallmark, foreign channels, music channels, and all of your local major city networks. Best of all, sports fans, Vibe TV is keeping you up to date with all the scores and more from tennis, golf, soccer, rugby, UFC, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and more. And last but not least, live pay-per-view events at no extra cost. Never miss another game or match ever. If you want it, we got it. One app, one price, $15 a month, and never pay for extra add-ons. And here's a bonus for all these Sports Roundtable tenants. Visit VibeTVApp.com and use the promo code SRT for a 20% discount on all Vibe TV packages. So come on and subscribe to Vibe TV and stay connected to Sports Roundtable because they know sports.
Sports Roundtable.
Now, David, it's like this. Now, either you gonna straighten up or we letting you go.
Blue, you all right with that?
I'll miss you, but not if you're hurting the group.
Hurting the group? I'm the best thing ever happened to this damn group.
Nobody's bigger than the group.
Y'all ain't stupid. I'm the one selling the records. They coming to see me.
They coming to see the Temptations.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. You wish you could work it the way I do. But you can't, because there is only one David Ruffin. And without him, the Temps ain't nothing but a group in search of a David Ruffin.
Only on WWE, The Real 1100 AM.
You're begging me not to leave you, and I refuse to let you go.
Uh-oh, Brazy. Yeah. Looks like they back for a 5th season, man.
Who that?
Sports Roundtable.
Who?
SRT crew. SRT, they got that realness flowing in they DNA. Damn you lame if you ain't tuned to SRT today. HO got that payload when he say so, what you betting on? Don't get mad at me on fantasy, break up Kyrie LeBron. I be smooth as sports superhero Hancock in the mix. Deal with roll top forever, real talk, you know who he gon' pick. See where I be with SRT, behind the glass, that G-Money. They with a strong, I never lose, 6-man elite, that's J Smooth.
All you other sports radio shows is fake news. Believe that. Turn up your radios, cause it's time for SRT Radio. Yeah.
What up? It's the Sports Roundtable. Welcome to the second hour of the show. First hour of the show, we had some fun in here. We was just bouncing it around. Got my main man, Mr. Controversy Raphael, in the building. Yeah. Of course, Jay Smooth from Memphis. He said he was not able to go see Mr. Mike Collins drop 40 on Trey tonight. Then, of course, I got G Money in the building. Boy, his birthday tomorrow. Take a PTO day tomorrow, baby. Got to take that PTO.
I'm taking it Friday.
Okay, there you go, my man. Yes, sir.
As long as you don't take it Saturday.
I make no promises.
Hey, so make sure you wish G Money happy birthday, man. His birthday is tomorrow, so make sure we do that. It is this time where we are vibing. It is this vibe with SRT, and we already got a winner. My main man is in the building. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce him first, so we can go ahead and give him this special award that we give out every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I am proud to call this guy a friend. Proud to know that I played against him in high school. Proud to know that he was Mr. Georgia basketball. Proud to know that he played for Billy Towns, Oklahoma. Proud to know that he also went to Coastal Carolina, came back home to Georgia Tech, where he's from, and gave him 40. Yeah. Was I hyped when I said, was I?
Yeah.
Slow down a little bit.
No, we good, man.
We good. We good? Okay.
Like Michael Buffer.
There it is.
I thought the lights was gonna turn off.
But anyway, my main man, he's in studio. Good to present. He's doing his thing. He's training some kids. If you got some kids that need some training, my main man, Marquise, Kiki for 3. Hicks is in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's up, Horace? How you doing, man? Good to be back.
Absolutely, my man. What's happening?
No.
So, before we get into it, I'm just gonna hope that you have a Fire Stick. We're gonna hope. If not, we can work on that.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you an email address where you can watch all the basketball games, all the football games, all the baseball games. You may not be a baseball fan, but everything you want, $15 a month. But we're gonna give you a trial for 3 days for free on SRT.
Appreciate it. Thank
My
you,
man.
man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Thanks, Horace.
All right, so now tell everybody what you're doing right now. Let everybody know who you are, what you do, and just promote what you got going on.
All right. First of all, I'm Marquise Hicks, better known as Kiki. I'm a former college basketball coach who decided to go out on his own. Right now, I'm training kids. I got professional athletes that I train in the summer. I got high school and AAU athletes, also the youth that I train in the fall. And I also do team building for colleges and for high school and for AAU teams. I also do motivational speaking. I also got a mentoring program where I'm going to be in the school system coming up school year. So it's a host of things that's under the Kiki for Real title. It's not just a basketball training, it's motivational speaking, mentoring, team building, and everything that involves social rising.
My man, there it is. All right, so that was good. So before we get started, I want to make sure you give out the information, like how can they reach you, the social media aspect where they can follow Kiki for Real and things of that nature. Go ahead and spit that out for me.
You can follow me on Instagram at Kiki Hicks for Real. That's Keke Hicks, HICKS, the number 4, Real, REAL, or you can just go Kiki Hicks for Real. You can find me on Facebook at Marquise Kiki Hicks, and you can text me if you want training at 470-278-9252.
My
Go
man.
to my Instagram, you can connect to the website.
My man, there it is. All right, so before we even get started, you said what you do. You said what you got going on. The foundation is good and everything. But we like to play this little game called More About You.
Okay.
All right. So what we gonna do? My main man G go put up a clock. We got about 60 seconds. All right. So we got 60 seconds. I'm gonna ask you 6 questions. You don't know what they are. They may be sports questions, maybe personal, things of that nature. So you got 60 seconds to answer 6 questions as quick as possible. G, you got that clock ready, baby? G got it ready. Let me know. All right, so here we go. The first question is, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Wow. Las Vegas.
All right, your favorite basketball player all time.
Come on now, everybody know that's Kobe Bryant.
There it is, okay. Yeah, Laker fan, you see that. All right, the best Denzel Washington movie.
The one where he was the police. What's his name?
Training Day?
Training Day, yes, sir.
Was he really a police? Or
No, undercover.
Cricket cop.
Cricket cop, okay.
Yeah, undercover.
The best basketball player you ever played or seen in college. Played against or seen in college.
Man, it's tough. I would have to say Travis Best.
Okay. All right. Showing your age a little bit, but that's okay.
You said that I played against.
There you go. All right. Mercedes-Benz or Lexus?
Oh, Mercedes-Benz.
All right. And your dream coaching job, if you have one?
Dream coaching job would be at, wow, man.
Woof. Yeah.
Doing my own thing. I don't even think that way no more.
Well,
Oklahoma.
which team building school would you like to team build with then, since that we're going to incorporate that?
Okay, I'd love to do it with a high-profile program like Duke University.
Hello, my man. Did you hear?
Yeah.
Did y'all hear?
Yeah.
Y'all heard it, right?
You walked me into that one.
Hey, you don't have to earn points with him, man. Y'all already cool.
Hey, it was. But I didn't ask that question, so I wouldn't even try to get there. But my man. But that's cool. I appreciate that. So that's how people know about it. So now they know team building is a part of what you do.
Absolutely.
And you know, a high profile school like Duke, obviously that is something to be thrilled about. But we want to ask you, as we go wind down this down, then we go kick back after we take a commercial break. You heard us talk about the MVPs.
Okay.
We had a top 3. We all voted. Give us your top 3 right now in MVP, NBA.
Giannis, Harden, and Giannis again.
Oof. Oh. All right.
I don't have a third. I only have those 2, and that's it.
Giannis and Harden. Paul George, no love.
Paul George is having a great year, one of the best years in his career, but he's not the MVP.
Not the MVP. All right. So I got another question for you. Let's talk about Mr. Lou Williams and what he has accomplished in the NBA, being able to pass, is it Ricky Pierce?
No, it's
Dale Curry.
Derek Curry, yeah. My fault, still. Man, cool out. What has he meant to this, the city of Atlanta, the state of Georgia, and what he's done in the NBA to you?
I've never heard nothing but great things about Lou Williams. Every time I speak with someone in the basketball community, they have great things to say about him. I've had a chance to see him and meet him when I was on the staff at Georgia Tech. They used to come in and play pickup. And I just sat on the side one day and just watched him. Man, Lou pretty doggone good, man. He get to his spot. When I train, I use his name a lot because I tell people, you know, like once you make your move, you got to speed to your sweet spot.
Right.
Because in my opinion, that's what Lou's good at. It's not a whole bunch of extra dribbling and fancy. It's just real speed to your sweet spot. He speeds to his sweet spot and get that shot up, man. Lou's a hell of a player. And like I said, people always spoke highly of him in the community. He's done things back at his high school, South Gwinnett, giving back to the program and things of that nature. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for Lou Williams.
Gotcha. Real quick before we go to break, just kind of talk about your time in Oklahoma. What has it meant for you to see 2 Heisman Trophy back-to-back winners come from a place that you actually spend a little time with, and then talk about your time at Georgia Tech and what needs to be done to kind of get the Flats back into the national ranking as far as the big boys.
Gotcha. Well, first of all, Oklahoma was a great school for me. My freshman year, I felt really, really good about being on campus, and I tell people all the time, it was the first time I ever saw some of the biggest football players I ever seen in my life. We went to the cafeteria, man. I got to tell you this one real quick. To the cafeteria, man, I saw like 6'6", 300-pound guys. I'm like, man, I'm 6'1", 165. Looking around like, man, it's crazy. That football program is a big deal, man.
Yeah.
So I've always been a big fan of the football program at Oklahoma.
I got you. And Georgia Tech, you spent some time there. Under, is it Gregory?
Yes,
Gregory?
Brian
Gregory. So tell us about some of the time there and some advice that you think could kind of help Georgia Tech get back into the limelight.
Well, first of all, it was an honor to work there with Coach Brian Gregory. I learned a lot of the things that I know in basketball. I learned from Coach Gregory. I put that with everything that I already knew. So, he used to tell me to be a student of the game. You was a great player before, but now you got to become a student of the game. So I took that to heart, and I've become a student of the game. So, I appreciate that. In order for Georgia Tech to get back where it used to be, I'm going to just be really honest, man.
Please.
You're going to have to let some of the conservatism go. You got to, if you really want to get big-time players in there, you got to have guys on your staff with somewhat of an edge. And I don't mean guys that's going to get you in trouble with the NCAA, but I mean guys that's going to have an edge, get out here and get things done. Because guys out here with these AAU programs, they don't really want to see you if you don't have some type of way to relate to them or to relate to the player that they're going to send to your school. So in other words, I'm going to just keep it real 100. You can't send cornballs to these kids' house.
Wow. Woo! Yeah. Man.
Hey, you got that on tape? Can I use that for Saturday? Good Lord.
cannot send cornballs to these kids' houses.
Yeah, because these kids, they're hip to things, man. I mean, I ain't saying you gotta act, you gotta be authority to them. You have to be a coach, and they have to be able to look at you as a leader. But at the same time, you got to be able to relate to them, and they got to be able to look at you because you can't fool them no more. And you telling lies and saying things are this way and things are that way. You going off black and white on paper and everything. You got to be able to relate to these kids for real, and it can't be fake square business.
Ooh,
and they have to stop relying on transfers from Walmart University.
Yeah.
Come on, man. They keep doing it. It's not going to work.
Well, you know they ain't got their accreditation from no university. They still Walmart College State
My bad.
Come on now.
Walmart Tech.
Yeah, come on, man. All right, man. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more with Kiki Hicks, man. We talking NBA. We're going to talk a little, how hard is it really to get to the Final Four? That's one of the things that we really want to touch on that, man. So keep it locked. We got my main man, Kiki Hicks, in the building. You listen to Sports Roundtable, the SRT crew on the Real 1100. SRTradio.com.
Are you thinking about changing the station? You're only hurting yourself. Keep listening to Sports Roundtable on 1100 AM. The work never stops at Bow Bell Basketball Academy, or more specifically, the feet work never stops at Bow Bell Basketball Academy. For boys and girls ages 6 and up, Atlanta's own Bo Bell has played and coached basketball all around the world and is here to share his philosophies, specifically how footwork is the foundation to be a complete basketball player. Visit CoachBoBell.com for details about upcoming camps or call 770-912-4104 for more information. Bo Bell Basketball Academy, where feet work is key. Sports Roundtable.
You know, Sweet, I met Dr. Martin Luther King once. And you lying. You ain't never met Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, I met Dr. Martin Luther King in 1962 in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm walking down the street, minding my own business, just walking off, feeling good. I walk around the corner, man woke up, hit me in my chest, right? I fall on the ground, right? And I look up, it's Dr. Martin Luther King. I said, Dr. King. He said, oops, I thought you were somebody else. Oh, man, you lying. You ain't never met Martin Luther King. Knocked the wind out of me. Yes, he did. No, it didn't. Yes, he did. No, he did not.
Only on WWE, The Real 1100 AM. The Roundtable Discussion.
What are we talking about?
Hit it!
Sports Roundtable back at you, bang. Roundtable Discussion sponsored by Bow Bell Basketball. Bow Bell Basketball is a place where kids can go and have fun and improve in their basketball games. Just go to CoachBoBellBasketball.com for more information. Well, he says feet work is key. All right, Kiki, real quick. You from the A. College Park. That's how we say it. How did Ant-Man get to Georgia and not to Georgia Tech?
I just told you.
Damn! I did that. It fit.
Told you. Okay, he went down there with my backcourt classmate, right?
Right.
Okay, then.
There it is. Your point. All right. So let me bring this full circle. We talked about how we can get the flats back in the game, and you say you got to have a little edge. You got to have somebody that. We ain't trying to get in trouble, but we trying to be aggressive enough to understand that we trying to build a program.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because it was Point Guard University the way we knew it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Criminals was going to get them.
Absolutely.
And Reese from Atlanta.
Yeah, Willie Reese, yep.
The assistant.
Yes.
All right, so your backcourt high school mate, assistant coach at Georgia.
Absolutely.
The
roots. See, the thing is, man, when you go up certain programs, you know what I'm saying? It's to say if I'm in New York City, right? And I got the chance to choose between Horace and Joe. I'm just making up a name. Okay, Horace is 30 years deep buried into this city. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So your connections and your roots are going to go way deeper than this other guy who may be 10 years deep into the city.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So you want to get somebody who's here, who got the roots here. Because these guys that run these AAU programs, they know the guys with the roots.
Know the guys with the roots.
With the real roots in Atlanta, man. You can't just come through here and think you're just going to get something. It don't work like that.
Work that way. Hey, man, it don't work that way. All right, man, let's talk about this NBA real quick. Me and Jay Smooth, we're going to sit out on this one. All right? We're going to let you and my man, Mr. Controversy, get all the way down in this one, right? Because we asked this last week, and we're going to bring this back up this week because I know he had a lot to say about it. It's good to talk sports on 2 shows in a week, right? There you go. So I'm going to give you that opportunity. And you're a Laker fan, so I got to give you this opportunity to do it as well. But as a guest, I'm going to have to let you go first. We asked and we talked about, with all the stuff that's going on with the Lakers and the signing LeBron, and, you know, you start off with this, we go build from the core. You had Russell, and you traded him because you could have had Russell, Ball, Ingram, Randall, Kuzma, and Kubek. You could have had them 6 in the fold to just grow together. But you bring in LeBron and Walter was here first, and then LeBron signs and all this other kind of stuff. And Walter didn't even go to the meeting with Magic and LeBron. So it's a whole lot of stuff that goes on, right?
Yes, sir.
Whatever he was doing in Cleveland, has been noted that, you know, he was kind of running Cleveland. Probably why he left Miami, because Pat Riley wasn't going to let him do all of this other kind of stuff. Just stating the facts.
Right.
Now it has come down to the point where they say, okay, we got the same record that we had last year. Did we really get better? So the question is, and somebody brought to my attention, is LeBron a coach killer? Out of all of that, what I just said, my question to you, is LeBron a coach killer looking throughout his career and now what he's doing with the Lakers? Because you know Walton go get fired.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, I've always said that LeBron was a coach killer. And I don't want to say that, you know, like I'm talking bad about LeBron, because LeBron is a great player. We all know that. But, you know, the record speaks for itself. Everywhere he's went, coach pretty much got fired, except for Spoelstra. And Pat Riley was able to step in and save him. And if it wasn't for the fact that, in my opinion, that Pat Riley's a Hall of Famer, then Spoelstra would have got axed too.
Right. I think G agrees with you too, because he's a Miami fan. So I think he agrees. Am I right?
I mean, well, you had Pat Riley behind it.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why he didn't get it. But
Exactly.
everybody else got it, right?
Everybody else got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Controversy.
To a degree, yeah. I think now it's because he's been spoiled. But he's been spoiled because he wasn't spoiled. When he first came in the league, I talked about this Saturday, as you mentioned. He's probably the only superstar, maybe superstar. Well, I say superstar. Iconic that no one has built a team around. His first stint in Cleveland, they didn't build a team around him. You think about Magic, Jordan, Barkley, well, except for Barkley because that's why he left. But every other iconic superstar, they've built a team around. I'm saying draft picks that make sense for LeBron, veterans to bring in to make sense with the draft picks, with the seasonal players.
There's a couple other things to consider with that, because with like free agency in the NBA really didn't start until the early 90s. And it was kind of limited at that because of the, you know, the collective bargaining agreement. But even when players were, when the contract, before the contracts would end, they would sign an extension. Like it wouldn't get to that point to where they're on the last year of a contract. Like they would just, you know, if they're going to stay with this team.
I hear you, but in drafting players, you drafted players that didn't make sense for Cleveland. Like it didn't go well with LeBron.
Well, I think they tried to build a team around it. They were just bad at it. There was players that didn't fit. There was a lot of players that did not.
I don't really think they took their time. They tried to either pick the best player, but I don't think they really took their time. Like if they would have kept Boozer around LeBron, think about it. If they would have kept Boozer around LeBron, it would have worked. Because Boozer went to Utah. What did he do? Average 25 and 12.
Made a couple All-Star teams. And another mistake that they made is when they had a chance, I think it was 2009, 2010, they had a chance to trade for Amari Stoudemire when Amari Stoudemire was that dude.
Oh, wow.
But they decided to keep J.J. Hickson. They wouldn't trade J.J. Hickson to Phoenix.
Wow.
And that's my point. So,
I didn't know that.
in saying all of that,
yeah, that's what you get on sports.
Right. In saying all of that, you don't build a team around him. So what does he have? What does he do? He has to leave. He goes to Miami. He wanted Spoelstra fired. People say that, but at the same time, like you said, he had Riley, but he had Wade and everybody else. You really didn't build a team around him. You just They came together and said,
Right.
okay. So then he goes back to Cleveland.
Did AAU.
Now he's like, he did AAU. I don't want him. Give me him. Give me that guy. Black came in. Black wasn't ready. Let me get rid of Black. But then after he got rid of Black, he brings in Root.
He was in first place when Black got fired, right?
Cleveland was in first place when they fired David Blatt.
But he knew Black. Black wasn't it.
But the thing is, like, Blatt was hired. Like I said, Blatt was hired to coach a young team around Kyrie.
So
then LeBron shows up.
So my thing is, now you look at LeBron and like, you know what? This is kind of cool. I could get rid of these guys. Get my own team. Why not? So now, what iconic head coaches, maybe besides Pop, if he wants to coach him, would take the time to say, you know what, I do want to coach. I don't think any great coach will coach LeBron.
It's too late.
Those guys aren't the guys that he respects aren't coming.
And it's the last thing. We talk about iconic players, Jordan, Magic, Bird. All of them had in common was they knew it was a relationship with their coach.
They're right.
On the floor, I'm the alpha, but this is my coach. We have to work together.
Coaches coach, players play.
So because LeBron didn't have that coach or the players, then he got to the point where I like doing what I want to do. Now he doesn't know how to have that relationship with that coach.
Hey, you can play this game. You can play this game no matter what sport, right? I can say Jerry Rice, and you name the coach. Bill Walsh. I can say Joe Montana, Bill Walsh.
Right.
I can name Steve Young. You still name. I can name Shaq. It doesn't matter. But when you say LeBron, it's like.
But part of it also is that I've always said that LeBron, he can't be coached because if you look at the coaches he has played for, it's never seemed to. There was never any inkling of any kind of relationship, and even with Spoelstra, and Spoelstra changed. He changed the makeup of the team of how they played to kind of maximize LeBron, and that's what kind of issued in this whole small ball era. But even then, LeBron went beyond. Like that wasn't good enough to where he helped change my game to where I finally got these championships. But that wasn't good enough, so it goes beyond the relationship was not going beyond basketball.
Can I ask Kiki this? Think about it. How many times, or do you think that LeBron would want to have a great coach? No. How many times you mentioned H.O., Walsh, Montana, Brady. We talk about quarterback because usually they're the leaders, right?
Right.
How many times in the NBA, you've seen this with Jordan, with Magic,
Akeem,
Bird. How many times when the other team is shooting free throws, you seen LeBron talking to the coach? I'm going to shut up right there. I'm going to be quiet right there.
Rare, if ever.
My point exactly.
Yeah, he ain't studying like that.
Yeah, I agree.
He don't want it.
All right, so Kiki, so I think we talked about this earlier. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on just the Lakers at this particular point. Who are you blaming this what we call, you can't get away with this in LA.
Right.
And this is what I said. I said that LeBron brand is bigger than Cleveland. Right?
Right.
His brand ain't bigger than LA.
No, sir.
So we don't need your brand in LA to still be LA.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's almost like the water too deep for you in LA. Maybe you didn't know what you were getting into. But the LA shadows his brand, so you don't need it. But at the same time, we know what the LA people expect.
Right.
When a big name, this is the first time, 5 years that they haven't really had a superstar since Kobe. It's been a minute. You used to the superstars being there. Now it's a disappointment. Your thoughts on who's to blame and how do you actually see this situation?
I think everybody should shoulder some of the blame, starting with Magic and Rob Pelinka. And the reason I say that is because, like, when we weren't able to attain Anthony Davis, it's like we just did a knee-jerk reaction and just went out and traded away, like, a really good player. What's the big
Kubic.
Zubac?
Yeah, that was
Zubac.
terrible.
Yeah.
That was like a really,
to the Clippers, too.
Yeah, that was a bad trade, man.
Kept in the same locker. But go ahead.
Yeah, that was bad, man. And so I feel like we should have – this is like where Magic made a mistake, I think, in that trade right there. I think we should have, once we didn't get Anthony Davis, we should have just kept the team how we had it until we are able to get Anthony Davis or somebody else for him. But also, LeBron should take some of the blame because, like people, and this is what I have to say to all the LeBron fans, okay? I'm a fan of LeBron now because he's on the Lakers, and I respect what he do in the community, but I'm not really a LeBron fan. So I'm just going to say it like this. Like, all those times when people were saying, don't nobody want to play with Kobe, and don't nobody want to play with Kobe, and I was trying to tell people, no, it's not Kobe. It's these guys don't want to accept their responsibilities. Now, they don't want to be held accountable to be a champion. Okay, so now we have the same situation 5-6 years later with LeBron. People are saying no one wants to play with LeBron. No one wants to play with LeBron. Well, I'm still on LeBron's side the same way I was on Kobe's side. Right. These guys don't want to be held accountable. So with all that being said, I think these young players have dropped the ball tremendously because they're letting trade rumors and all these different things about LeBron get into their head where it's affecting their play on the court. I feel like they should understand that this is a business and that everybody get traded. Not everybody, but a lot of players get traded.
Right.
And just people mentioning your name, that's not a reason for you to go out and have a poor performance or get in your feelings and can't do your job because you're a professional.
Gotcha. I had a question for you, Kiki, about that. Like with the kind of team that it was last year, with the young core and you have the young coaches, they're going to all develop together.
Right.
And the expectations weren't that high.
Gotcha.
But now you bring in LeBron, and now it's unrealistic championship expectations.
Right.
So like the whole mindset change. Like they're not able to just like bring themselves along all together because these big free agents or maybe there isn't that player coming to where everything's going to change as far as like the expectations go up. But
right.
Then the expectations go up. But then in a short amount of time, it's, okay, now it's all these trade rumors. Now we have to make changes. Now we have to do something else because now we're going after a championship now. Well, last year we were just trying to develop young players. Now it's went from a rebuild to a championship. It was kind of like how it was in Cleveland in 2014. And then in 2015, they're in the finals. Like it seemed like that was expected to happen again, but it's not that same kind of team. So do you think that like the expectations jumping from not in the playoffs to we're contending for a championship is affected the young players the most?
Right. That's a fair assessment, and I agree with some of what you said. But like I said, at the end of the day, you're a professional, and you guys were playing really well. You were in 4th place before LeBron got hurt. But then I remember watching games when LeBron was hurt. It wasn't just LeBron saying this. Like when you watch a game on NBA TV, those are the local announcers doing the game. Right. And that's all they ever talked about, the lackadaisical efforts, the laziness, the not playing really good defense. And like I'm still holding them accountable. I mean, I understand what you're saying that the expectations went up, but I don't think they expected them to win a championship this year, but I do think they expected them to make the playoffs. I mean, this is Brandon Ingram's 3rd year. How long are we going to wait?
That's true. And also, another part of that a lot of people brought up is that all the players that were brought in on the 1-year contracts, Rondo, Beasley, McGee, Stevenson, they're coming in expecting to play,
right?
Because they're playing for their next contract, basically.
That's right.
And they're not going to sit back while the young players are still out there getting minutes, getting their minutes as they may feel like they're entitled to.
Right.
So, do you think that may have affected the team chemistry as well? Like, well, why is he playing? Why am I not playing? I'm trying to get this money out here.
It could have. You mean like you think the veteran players might have had some feelings about the young players playing more?
Like for example, like it didn't make sense at the time for the Lakers to sign Rondo when you have Lonzo Ball. Like only one of them was going to be playing at a time,
right?
Basically,
I think Rondo was more like insurance, for the playoffs because had they made the playoffs, Rondo would have been a key factor, instead of just trying to put all the trust in Lonzo's hand.
So in terms of like them getting to I don't think they're going to get there, but I mean, like as far as like somebody didn't see it that way.
Right, I got you. You're right.
Somebody along the way did not see it as this is our insurance.
We saw it on the SRT because we was like, they are constructing this way wrong. Period. No shoot. This is the first time in
shooters.
LeBron's life he hadn't had shooters around him. So if you're gonna keep spoiling him and babysitting him, keep doing what you've been doing to get him to the finals.
Yeah,
no
we need
shooters.
bad.
But-
Yeah.
You know, but go ahead.
It was temporary. Just saying that. I think it was temporary. I think that's the thing. Everybody has to relax.
Right.
Is they knew since they couldn't get Paul George, he messed everything up.
Yes, he did.
So it was like, well, we got all these players. We're really just getting players. We might be able to do something, but if we don't, let's wait till next year. You know, for free agency. But to what you said, I agree. I hear what you're saying as far as the business. It is, but don't you think? And we all know that came from LeBron that he wanted to get Anthony Davis. So don't you think when your teammate who you were playing for earlier in the season, now all of a sudden your teammate said, I don't want to trade Ball, not just Brandon Ingram, not the ball boy, not players we don't even have yet. We trying to trade them too with draft picks. 4 or 5 players.
The whole draft class.
We're
Let's just
trying
say
to
that.
we're trying to trade everybody on the team. Our core starters we're talking about to get Anthony Davis. It doesn't fall through. You can't say it's a business because now you're looking at young players. They're not thinking, oh, he tried to trade me. They all come together. This dude trying to trade all of us, and now he wants us to rock with him and expect us to rock with him and play Harvard. No.
And also
Why?
consider that, like, if they're not making the playoffs, they're going to make changes to the roster during the offseason too. So they're probably still going to get traded.
Right, but why would I, as being young, like you said, they don't know, but being young, you try to trade all of us. Now it doesn't fall through, and now you're like, all right, yo.
Yeah, that was a bad look.
We need to play hard. We need to.
Well, it hints to LeBron sitting on the bench by himself with nobody sitting within 3 seats of him.
I tell you what, they can do that all they want. They can sit 3 feet, you can sit 20 feet, but you'll be gone next year. and your career will be on the downside if you don't go somewhere and ball in your first year or two.
I think that's why that might not matter as much. It's like, well, we're not going to be playing with them next year, so why we don't need to try to be friends
Exactly.
or good teammates or anything.
Hey, so Kiki, Jay Smooth is a Giannis fan, Greek freak. He loves him. He's a Milwaukee guy.
Right.
He's gonna explain to you why he likes Milwaukee, and then I want you to kind of respond back and see if you can add something to it, or you can kind of see what he thinks. But Jay Smooth, tell him why you like Milwaukee and the Greek freak mostly, and what he's done for you this season.
Okay.
And what you like from the Greek.
Well, this season, not only this season, but throughout Giannis's career, you've seen sort of gradual improvement. Every year he's gotten better. He's, career highs across the board.
Absolutely.
This year he's on, and I think his development has been aided by Mike Budenholzer. That's helped.
Okay.
Some people believe that Chris Middleton has taken a step back, but I think he's been just as effective, probably a few less points per game. But throughout it all, Giannis has been sort of that glue. This is a guy, I think I read the stat earlier, he's averaging maybe 17.5 points per game in the paint.
Wow.
And since February, he's shooting about 37% from 3. And I guess my question to you would be, in your opinion, how has Giannis's game improved, and how has he helped Milwaukee become that number 1 seed in the East and overall best record in the NBA, 51 games? What do you think has been the change for Giannis?
I think that he's made strides in every area of the game. I think the biggest stride that he's made is with his confidence, with his ability to work during the off season and his drive to be one of the best players, if not the best player in the game. I think that's been the biggest jump that he's made, has been mentally, because he's always had the skills, but he's dribbling better, he's shooting better, he's doing everything better. So I think all of that is a part of his mental game.
Steve Kerr was caught on camera this past week saying something.
I saw that.
What did he say? Saying something, right? Okay, so we in the media, so we go spin it the way we need to spin it in order to make the story look good, it sound good. I'm not a lip reader, right? But it was stated that he said, I'm sick of Draymond, or I'm sick of this Draymond crap, or whatever the case may be.
I'm so bleeping tired of
Draymond's
bleep.
There it is, right there. So we finna go around the table, right? Because I gotta think that at this particular point, you got KD getting pulled on and won't stay off Twitter, right?
I know.
And everybody got him going to New York. They keep saying, well, you really cheapen your rings. You really got with somebody. You still ain't got your own team, even though you left OKC and it wasn't your team there either. So, I mean, you got that going on. You got what Steve Kerr said about Draymond. Clay is coming up with his contract. We don't know what Boogie gonna do next year. Things like that. So things are kind of, I wouldn't say the wheels are falling off, but it's something to talk about. You know what I mean? And we really appreciate that, Golden State, for you giving us something to talk about. So I want to start with you, Key. Is Golden State in trouble?
No. I wouldn't be too concerned about Golden State, man. They do have a few concerns, but I still don't see anybody beating them 4 games out of 7. It's one of these teams where you're going to have to actually show me. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe anything about them losing.
Okay. Mr. Controversy?
Give you all just a small tip. I usually don't do this about the media. When a team continues to win and they continue to be dominant, first thing the media does is let's find some. NBA might even strike them to do this, but let's find something to nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about what Kerr said. How many times have we seen Pop say this? We've seen Phil talk about this. Pat Riley, we probably heard him. He probably said it on the mic, and we make mention of it like it's this big thing when Kerr said it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a coach. He's a coach.
Right.
He's a coach.
Right. Absolutely. Good point.
With Durant, we want to say, but they're professionals. They should get their money and everything. But now that it's talk, he's never said he's going to New York, but now because it's talk, he's wrong. Draymond, and so my thing is, no, they're not in trouble. This is what they want. The last year, and I asked Steve Kerr this also, it's like the 98 Bulls. With Scotty they made so much about it because Scotty wanted to get paid. Phil wasn't getting along with the organization. Mike punched Steve Kerr. It was so much going on, but they still won.
Absolutely.
Because they had a core there and their team. So, no, they're not in trouble.
And Robin was going to Vegas.
Yeah, he was going to Vegas and being right. You want Robin to be Robin.
Yeah, and Jud Bushler was the chaperone.
Yeah, but that's Steve Kerr. But no, I don't think they're in trouble unless Chris Paul stays healthy.
All right, Jay Smooth, your thought. Is Golden State in trouble, bro?
No, not at all. I think you have to. Well, I want to frame it up this way. This is a team who's been to the finals 4 times, 4 straight years, 3 out of those 4. And you're asking a team to come back and endure an 82-game season.
Right.
And I've never gone through that, so I can't speak to it. Kiki, he's the closest thing to it here, so he could probably speak to it. But along the way, there's going to be problems. And when you add personalities like Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, you add a DeMarcus Cousins into the fold, things are going to happen. I mean, we've seen this before, as Mr. C just pointed out. Drama is going to happen, and I forgot who put out I don't know who said it, maybe last year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was Andre Iguodala or I don't know who it was, Sean Livingston. But the quote was, if they only knew what actually happened.
David West.
That's who it was.
Yeah, so he was on the radio this morning in Charlotte. Anyway, I'd be all over the place. But go ahead.
But yeah, I think the same thing applies this season. It's hard to motivate a team that's been to 4 straight finals and won 3 of those championships. I guess that's why Steve Kerr makes the big bucks. And he gets a lot of crap for not being Mark Jackson. A lot of people felt that was Mark Jackson's team. They took him to, he built the team and Steve Kerr just came in and on the white horse and took over. But I think you have to give Steve Kerr a lot more credit than, he's actually been given. It takes a lot to manage these personalities.
Absolutely.
And continue to endure not only 82 games, but 4 rounds of playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's It's a
Every
tough
year
job.
he's been there. He's went to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he still got punched by Jordan. That ain't going away.
Oh yeah, he did.
But anyway, but Key. So if we go to the East though, there's no LeBron, and man, look, Indiana's playing great. Philadelphia with Embiid coming back. We got Toronto and Milwaukee. They've already clinched. Then we talk about the Boston troublesome with Boston. Who do you like in the East to come out?
Just one team?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can be two. You may not have made your mind up yet.
I got Milwaukee or Philly.
Milwaukee and Philly. Why you like Milwaukee or Philly?
I like Milwaukee because they have Giannis, the MVP.
Okay.
And they have an excellent coach. The only thing that scares me about them is their playoff experience. But other than that, I have Milwaukee. But, I don't really want to count Philly out because I believe Philly can really do some damage to some teams once they get in the playoffs, and they have a good chance to beat winners.
All right, Mr. C.
I don't believe in Milwaukee. I just don't. I don't think that style of basketball is going to win in a 7-game series. I have to go with Toronto. I like Philly. The scary thing about Philly is Embiid got a chance to get rest. And you saw how many people has been out for a week and a half, and he come back in his first game and scored 37 points and 16 rebounds? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But with Toronto, because they have Kawhi, they're the only team that has, I was about to say World Series. NBA Finals experience
True.
with Kawhi and with I can't think of his name right now.
Danny Green.
Danny Green.
Okay. So
then you add that with somebody like a Gasol who's played in the playoffs, and then everybody in the roster, the only team that's been in Toronto's way is LeBron.
Yes.
And you notice I didn't say Cleveland. I said the only team that's been in the way is LeBron.
You missed somebody.
And I forgot they had Gasol.
LeBron and Kyle Lowry. Because he's been the one reason.
And Kyle, right. But and I've said this last time I was on the show. The fact that you had somebody who was an assistant coach who saw them get to the Eastern Conference Finals and saw that it was a problem. He knew what the problem was. Now that he's the head coach, pretty much has the same team. He can make adjustments because he knows the type of player he's had in the past. Then you bring in Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, and Marc Gasol.
That's a big deal.
It just messes up for them to be successful.
And many times you done cover Jeremy Lin and interviewed him. You ain't gonna mention his name.
Oh, and then wait.
Come on, man.
And to me, that was the second. I said that the Manimal was the best pickup.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Lin was the second best now because, like you said, you have somebody to come in who can score, who's a veteran,
right?
Who knows how to play. He hadn't really been in the playoffs, but he's a veteran. Like you trust your backup point guard.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. All right, Jay Smooth, who you got in the East?
I think it's wide open, but one team I am interested in seeing is the Boston Celtics.
Right.
I think if Brad Stevens can somehow find a way to shorten his rotation, I think Uncle Drew's championship experience, I think it will come into play. And Brad Stevens, who I was kind of down on him a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. You had him in the doghouse.
Yeah, I was down on him. Mainly his inability to, sort of manage personalities far and manage the drama in Boston. But I think he's one of the best X's and O's coaches. Like he's great at strategy. And I think during the playoffs, considering that they'll get, maybe a day or two between games, I think that helps in that situation. In Boston, even guys like Tatum,
Jaylen
Brown, the Morris kid, Terry Rozier, they have a year of experience.
Right.
I mean, given it was in a different environment or setting without Kyrie Irving, but I'm interested to see what Boston does.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna go to UG. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna add to you. I think Boston is in that Golden State mode right now. They just trying to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens needs to figure out. We got to remember, and I said this before. Brad Stevens has never coached a superstar.
Never.
All right? Think about it. He's never coached a star like Kyrie. He's always had guys that he coached up.
You're right.
Right?
Right.
He's never had this. He's never had this much talent. It's like, man, I don't. It's like being in a candy store. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, Jason Tatum is a button on a superstar.
Yep.
If you could get Jaylen Brown some minutes, could probably be a superstar. You got veterans like Al Horford and DeMar's kid solidifying the veteran leadership, but then Terry Rozier is like a pit bull.
Yeah.
But what he has to do is to learn how to manage when I have the team and when I need to go to Kyrie, because in the 7-game series, you're going to need that go-to guy. Mm-hmm. That's how they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals before.
Yeah.
They didn't have that go-to guy. Let me get 2 this time. Not just keep jacking up threes or whatever the case may be. So I think Boston is in that mode. I do like Toronto. I think quiet is kept. They just long. Defensively, this is the key. They can switch everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Ibaka can switch. Kawhi,
Siakam.
Danny Green. It doesn't matter. So, and you get a lot of pick and rolls in the playoff segment. I mean, the plays, but now can you make plays against the length? And that's the thing with Toronto. So I do like Toronto, and I like Boston as well.
And we saw his length, especially on that punch. And when he grabbed his neck, we saw what he's capable of. So, good point.
We've seen that a few times.
Right.
All right, G, who you got in the East?
I think that the Celtics and Raptors are on a crash course to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Right now, the Celtics are the 5 seed, right, and the Pacers are number 4, but they're like in a way tied with the 76ers.
Yeah.
The Celtics are still in the 76ers' head.
Mm-hmm.
Horford is in Embiid's head. Embiid is having
They're trying their best to finish third.
He's having nightmares about Horford and Aaron Baines, of all people.
Yeah. Embiid can't play against the Sixers. They take they hard. He needs to go see the
look at it last year. Embiid had nothing for Horford and Baines.
That was
nothing for
him.
Just last year.
This year too in the season.
Yeah.
He can't do anything. This year can't do anything.
You got nothing for him.
Nope.
And I think it's been talked about, but it's going to show itself in the playoffs again. Ben Simmons' unwillingness to shoot a jumper.
That's an issue.
And make free throws.
And he can, and he's even a worse free throw shooter this year. So that's going to.
Oh, gee, you added to him. Then you pow.
Hey, it's true. It's still true.
So y'all got Milwaukee going out in the second round too.
Well, I think to the Celtics.
Yes,
that could happen.
You have to have multiple superstars.
Yeah.
And Toronto doesn't have superstars, but I mean it's close too. I like Mark, and I like
Kawhi.
I was gonna say Kawhi, but I was gonna say Lowry, but it just depends on how.
Yeah,
that's why I said that. But
so Toronto would end up playing who in the second round?
Maybe the if they stay at 3, it would be the Sixers. But I think the Pacers, the way they have played and they have handled themselves without Oladipo, they would be the 3rd seed.
But Milwaukee doesn't. They only have your man, Greek Freak, and it's like if he has a bad game, who else?
Like if he has a bad game,
that's it.
Bledsoe has shown flashes. But Brook Lopez has shown flashes.
The thing is, the more consistent team will win in the playoffs. That's why I think in the second round, when the Celtics play the Bucks, the Celtics may win that in 5 games.
Right, and it's different when you playing them. This is the series we concentrating on. Ain't no travel. We going here play this team. Mm-hmm. The scouting report is right here for 7 days, and you got to deal with us.
And we're gonna do everything in our power to take away the Greek Freak. And if we take away Giannis,
right.
So y'all think the Celtics gonna just snap their finger and turn it on?
They turn it on now.
You said that about Golden State.
But that's the Celtics and Golden State. That's 2 different teams.
But have you been watching?
Golden State's 3-time champion.
They've been playing better.
Yeah, but the Celtics haven't won anything.
But they've been playing better though. They've been playing better, like the last 5-6 games. I think they're on what are they 5-6 games?
I don't trust the Kyrie Irving led team.
The Celtics.
You don't.
Brad
Stevens has to take over and figure that out.
They won 4 out of 5.
Yeah, they've been playing well.
All right, so before we go, Tell us how hard it is to get to the Final Four as a college team.
Man, everybody know or should know that it's extremely hard because you can have a great team, and with this NCAA tournament, we all know
Traveling,
one night, you know what I'm saying? One night, man, one game, and it could be over. It's not like the NBA where you have a chance to recoup.
Right.
So one game, you have a bad night or off night, you meet one of these teams that you never really played or knew much about, you can lose.
Can't really got what, one day to scout?
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit of luck and a little bit of greatness.
Gotcha. So in this year's college, give me some teams that you think could cut down the nets or be in the Final Four. Give me about 2 or 3 teams.
Of course, I'm gonna say your team, Duke, if Zion plays.
Oh, he playing tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. Yeah, y'all should.
Yeah. If he plays and he's back, you know, at least 80% of what he was doing before that.
He's been 100.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
he's been 100. Yeah,
all right, so I like Duke. I like
Okay, that's it. The end of the show.
No.
He said, "No."
I like Duke. I like Gonzaga as well, man. Even though they lost to St. Mary's last night.
Golly.
Yeah, but
what?
No, but I like them to win in the tournament.
What about Virginia? Virginia got
no.
You don't like Virginia?
No, Virginia always lose.
What about his team?
Who's that?
He like UNC.
North Carolina. Oh yeah, they got a shot.
Yeah,
North Carolina got a serious shot.
He just saying that because her birthday tomorrow.
No. North Carolina's really good. The way Roy Williams been doing it the last few years has been the recipe. He keep the veterans and a few.
If Duke was so good, they would have been competitive in those 2 games without Zion. But I'm gonna let you keep going.
I can't cut his mic off. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, North Carolina.
That's how he got the advantage.
They did handle them though. 2 times.
We playing Friday. You know that, right?
In the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
See, Duke will probably get them in the tournament.
Hello!
Because it'll be the 3rd time they play them. It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
See, this is the thing. You can't scout us because you never played us with Zion. You never played us with Zion, so you don't know how to scout us. Nobody knew what Zion was before. Everybody just thought you gonna throw it up. He's just gonna be the dunker.
Yeah.
Well, he's the. Who won the Player of the Year? Oh, yeah, breaking news. Zion won Player of the Year. He won ACC Player of the Year. And he won ACC Freshman of the Year. It's 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Oh, okay. It's time to get out of here. Kiki, give me your shout-outs, man. Time to get up out of here.
I'd like to shout out Kiki for real.
There you
training. 470-278-9252 if you want to get some professional and experienced training. No bootleg.
There it is. All right, shout out Mr. Controversy.
3-point conversion. If Facebook is up, go to the Facebook page, the 3-point conversion Facebook page, Twitter, the 3-point conversion, Instagram, the 3-point conversion, at 3pointconversion.com. And if you want to follow Duke in North Carolina, the 3-point conversion is covering the ACC tournament with Miss Sheena quick. So make sure you tune in, and we'll have all the coverage with Zion as well for you.
Only if Facebook is up, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to the entire crew. Kiki, appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice to meet you. Mr. C, I look forward to seeing you next year at the Grizzlies and Hawks game. G, of course, all the tenants, everybody. Well, you can't get on Facebook, but if you're listening somehow, thanks for listening. That's it.
All right, G. You going to say happy birthday to yourself?
Y'all can say that to me.
Happy 21st.
Yeah. Happy 21st.
Younger by the day. Shout out to all the tenants who may or may not have listened or watched our YouTube. Hey, that's not our fault. You gotta call Zuckerberg on that.
Yeah.
But we might be able to do this YouTube thing simultaneously going forward. I'll figure something out. And yeah, if you like the Sports Roundtable Facebook page, the 3-point conversion Facebook page, and we're just gonna keep this thing going. And right now the Hawks are up by 20.
Oh, wow!
Over the Grizzlies.
Wow.
He sit right next to Jay Smooth and just still told me they up by 20. Sit right next to him. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't have to do that. Jay.
Yeah, no, he had to do that. Hey man, shout out to Kiki. Appreciate it, bro. My main man coming through. Shout out to my main man, Mr. Controversy, for always coming through. Hey, it was just a phone call. Hey, yo, yeah, my man, come on through. So shout out to you. Shout out to the tenant. Shout out to the big man above. To give me the ability to have as much energy as I have after working a full day at work. Shout out to G, always keeping the glue together, man. Happy birthday. I hope you have fun on Friday, even though your birthday is tomorrow. I know you're taking the day off Friday. I expect a new hairstyle next week. Yeah, maybe. You know, and shout out to the crew, man. Y'all came in and did your thing. Shout out to my main man Hancock. I hope Boogie went 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
He better went 3 for 3 if you're gonna miss the show.
Yeah. 330 million.
Exactly. Hey, man, you know how we do it each and every week. If you don't like it, you better learn to love it because it's the hottest show going today. From Mr. Controversy Kiki, my main man G Money Smooth. Let's get it.
If you love the show,
tell a friend.
And if you didn't,
Kiki is for real. Peace.
Peace.
Have you been looking for a radio station that gives you sports?
I don't believe it. It's a touchdown.
Entertainment?
Are you not entertained?
And other special interest talk shows?
Well, isn't that special?
All on one app?
Yo, that's dope. What app is that?
It's the Real 1100 AM app for WWE. Grab it for free in your Google Play or Apple App Store today.